John, good to speak to you. I mean, first of all, let's just reflect on Saturday. How much confidence is that win over Woking going to give your side going through the rest of the campaign?
Well, I just hope it just gives it a bit of a feel-good factor to go into the next game. We can't look, massively down the line, but it's always nice to get 3 points. It's always get some points on the board and the table, so it just looks different. And the manner of the result was good in the end. And we've got another game. That's done and dusted. We've got another game tomorrow.
You spoke a lot about Luke Rawson at the weekend, 2 goals, obviously, and a great moment for him. How do you manage his progress over the next few weeks and months? Because obviously there'll be a lot of fans who have clearly liked what they've seen at the weekend, but I guess to a certain extent you've got to manage expectations as well.
Yeah, exactly. How we've been doing it. Speaking to him, having regular dialogue. He understands what we're trying to do with him. He's understanding what improvements he needs to make. And he understands when he does do what he's good at, what a difference he can make to our team. But he's got a couple of goals which is brilliant. But he's a boy learning his trade. So I have a vision for him long term, and we just got to make sure his progression is good and it's monitored, and he keeps improving, because that's the main thing. He has to keep improving, but he does understand what we're trying to do with him, and he trusts what we're trying to do with him. So again, that's an important part of a process of developing a young player.
Can you give us any insight into that long-term plan and what it looks like?
Well, first and foremost, anywhere I've been, every football club I've been at, I think it's important to have homegrown players on the pitch. I think it's something that the supporters can have an affinity with. There's a nice bond there. I think it's massively important when you've got a young player like, Sham, 2 players like Sham and Dawson, that one, they need to be good players, because there's a little bit more pressure on them, because they want to play for the club they've supported all their lives. And what I want them to do is go in there and stay there. And while we're doing that, they're young players, and hopefully the more experience that they get, the more certainly the more values added to them. I don't think we've had a lot of value in where people want some players in our team at the moment. So I'd like to put some more value to what we've got in the team, but I see them as the backbone of what we're trying to do. And what we're trying to do is produce a team that can play together for the next certainly 3 or 4 years. And certainly them 2, if they keep progressing, we might not be able to keep hold of them, but certainly if we can, and we start progressing as a team and a club, they could be here for the next 5 years.
They do well, you do well, essentially.
Yeah, well, that way it's good. I just want we work hard and we do. I always have this thing: if we work hard and you can look yourself in the mirror and say, look, we've tried everything. We've been honest with the players. We've tried to improve the players, and you're always improving. The players always, don't matter how old you are, you're always improving. And these young players have to improve, and they have to understand what it's about. Academy football is very different to playing for real when you're certainly playing in our league. So they have to understand what that's about, and the more you expose them to it, the better they'll be. But you've got to know when to put them in, you've got to know how to put them in, and you've got to know when to take them out. Because some players, young players, making mistakes affects them more than others. And it's just understanding the player, and that's really where we are with all our players. I try to understand them all and see what makes them tick, and when they do feel anxious or edgy, what that looks like, and why they feel that way, and how we can flip it over very quickly to get them back on track.
We saw a couple of your new signings at the weekend making an impact. Does the squad now have the balance that you were looking for pre-season, or is there still a bit more work to do in terms of recruitment?
No, it has the balance, and there's always work to do with recruitment. You don't want to. You want to keep moving forward. We want to keep trying to better the team, but I also have a budget that I have to work to. So, we've, we are we are where we are. What the big thing for me to do was to be able to put more of a balance to the team, and I thought, that because of the signings we had and the balance that we could make, that we've got to the team, the changes we made on Saturday worked, because we had people who weren't playing out of position. They were playing in a position that they're comfortable in, and then you can move them around. If a defender comes off, we can put a defender on. If we need a left-sided player, we've got a left-sided player. We're not putting someone there who fills the gap. And the big thing for me, then that breeds competition, and the competition is what's important if we're going to move forward.
So it's Torquay next. They put on a couple of late shows already to get a couple of wins on the board. What have you made of what you've seen?
Yeah, I think it's like everything else. People have good starts, and they had a good win. I think it's a good win that they had at weekend, just because it's a last-minute penalty. So there's nothing like getting a last-minute goal. But they've started off okay, a bit similar to results, in the pre-season. They've played a system of 3-5-2. They changed their system on Saturday to a 4-4-2. So that shows that they're adaptable. And they're up there. So like every game, they're all tough games. There isn't any easy games for us to play. They're all tough games. And what we've got to do is understand, what we've done today, understand what their strengths and weaknesses are, and I've said before, what every time we're planning for a game, I always look at how well we can play first, and then how poorly we can make the opposition play. But we, if we do what we're good at and get better at what we're good at, we'll be a match for anyone.
When it comes to a trip like this, of course, we're now in different times. So are there any issues in a trip to Torquay on a Tuesday night that come up that wouldn't have come up before coronavirus hit? And how are you having to deal with things?
Yeah, well, obviously one of the main things is travel. So it's how we're getting down there, and then we have to look at what their facilities are, whether we can shower, what the dressing rooms do, have to get changed at the hotel. There's a lot of logistics that's going into where we travel. Obviously the trip's a big trip, and it's a long trip. So we just got to get obviously a lot more planning than we would do when we can all get on one bus. We can all get off at the other side at a hotel. We can all get in the same dressing room. We can all go and have a shower. There's a lot of things like that which are a bit of a pain in the backside, but we just have to make sure that we do our own work on it and do the planning properly.
A couple of things I wanted to touch on. Firstly, support from Chesterfield fans this weekend. There was an issue with the stream for the Hartlepool game. The club put out vouchers, and then £3,000 has been donated back to the club after that. I mean, just how pleased are you with the support that Chesterfield fans are giving you this weekend?
Well, they've been amazing. I think it's a frustration for them because they can't come and watch the team, and that all any supporter wants to do is to be able to support and get behind his team. We did have a problem with the streaming for Hartlepool, but I think I'm right in saying that we put the streaming out on Saturday, and I think that was free of charge. I think it was. So I think that was a good gesture as well from our part. What we're trying to do is just connect. We're trying to connect as a club back with our supporters. We want we want it back together. We want what's best for everyone. Mike and John have been brilliant with that. I have regular dialogue with them almost every day, talking about what we can do and what we can't do, and is it a good idea, and the problems that we've had. They take the problems that we've had really seriously, and they don't want the problems, they want it right. And I think for the streaming to go down one game and turn around and say, well, this is how we'll do it for the next, I think it's a fair gesture. I think it's only right they do that, but the main thing is they've thought about it, and like I say, we just want the connection to the with the supporters and the team and obviously the club to come together, and when it does that, we can move forward in a big way.
And just finally from me, John, there's been this talk over the weekend of Project big picture. Lots of talk of the EFL getting more money from the Premier League, and so the Championship, League One, League Two would have an awful lot extra revenue if it was approved. How keen are you that the National League doesn't get left out of this? Because there'd be an irony if the gap between the Championship and the Premier League was reduced and the EFL and the Premier League are closer together, but then the EFL and the National League, suddenly there's a big chasm that opens up there.
Well, there's a lot of players, have come out of those leagues, and those leagues are important. They're a growing ground for players to move on. We want to be able to be sustainable as a football club without having to take handouts from anyone. Nobody wants a handout if we can do what we do, but the handouts are important. They're massively important to keep football, the feel-good factor that comes with football, especially at this moment in time, is huge. And all people are crying out for is to get back in the stadiums. And while they can't do that, we need help. I've mentioned it last time in my last press conference. My concern and my worry is that some clubs in our level and other levels will go to the wall before the end of this season if we don't get that help. It's a little bit different in the national leagues, because like North and South, because quite a few of those players have jobs. But at our level, a lot of people are depending on football to survive. Certainly players, and certainly the clubs to survive. So it's massive that we get that help at this moment in time, because everybody needs it.
Thanks for your time, John. Good luck.
Thank you, mate.
John, if I could just ask you, how much credit and how much do you appreciate the support that you've received from the board in allowing you to bring in another 2 players to balance out that squad?
Yeah, I mean, they understand. Mike and John, and the board. I had a board meeting last week. They're supporters, and they understand where we are. I haven't got millions of pounds, but what they've done, what Mike's done and John has done from the start is saying, look, we'll try to help you. We want to back you as much as we possibly can. And I have to say, they have. I think you can see where we were short in the team. And we always want to try and make the team better. Recruitment's massively important for us. But we're being able to, after certainly the game against Hartlepool, to be able to see where the shortfall was, and then be able to bring a couple of players in is what we've needed. Then it's a great boost certainly for the supporters, definitely, and it was a great boost for the team, because when 2 new faces walk through the door, it gives everyone a lift.
And with those 2 new signings, do you feel like you've got a real strong competition for places now, and everyone's going to be pushing each other to try and get in the team?
Well, that's what I want, Liam. That's what I'm doing it for. I want the competition, and then the ones who are up for the competition, then they can scrap it out. But I just want to be able to. We've got a lot of games coming up. We're playing Saturday, Tuesday. For the majority of the season. So we've got a lot of games coming up. We can't flog the same players. So, I said before, anybody who's not involved in the team has a duty that we put out to do the best it can do. Everybody else has a duty, if we're going to be a team, to support in the right way. So the subs to do their job, what they're asked. And unfortunately, the players that aren't involved, because I can only have 5 subs, get disheartened by it, because that's only one game. When we look at it, every game on its merits. I thought the team on Saturday did its job. The subs did their job brilliantly, because they came on and all 3 of them made a difference. And don't forget, when we went in the dressing room after, the players who weren't involved were in there to give the players a clap. So that says to me that there's the spirits there, the camaraderie as a team's there, and the support and the competition's there. So yeah, it's a big boost.
And given the impact that the subs had, have you got now some tough decisions to make as to who you pick for tomorrow's match?
Yes, I have, but that's a good place to be in. You know, going again, it's competition, and that's what we want. But I want the decisions. I'm having to think hard about what team I put out and what the subs are.
You know, someone like Liam Mandeville, he had quite a big impact off the bench. You know, an involvement with a couple of the goals. Has he given you something to think about? You know, going forward after being on the bench on Saturday? Yeah,
but we have to look at as well. You know, the team and how it started, how games have been at our level, and then how the games have panned out. So it's all about getting a foothold in the game. But certainly, he was one of the ones, the subs who went on and made a difference. And so yes, he's given me a good headache.
Joseph Yarni wasn't on the bench on Saturday. Is that an injury, or how's he doing?
Yeah, he was injured, and you know, we couldn't chance him. So he's obviously he's not far off. He could be fine. We'll see how he is. He hadn't trained today, but you know, he's not missed much, so he won't take much to go back in. But he's got competition because you know, Jamie Sharman went in and thought did an unbelievable job. So again, it's all about the competition. You know, before where we'd have missed a Yarni, or we'd have missed a Hollis, or we'd have missed an Evans, we had no one else to go in to fill. But now we've got that, so you know, a player can come out and someone can go in and do a job, and that's now important for us. You know, we are getting somewhere like a balanced squad.
And what was the issue with Yarni? Did he just pick up a knock, or
he had a slight swelling on his knee, but he's fine. We just had to make sure it's down, but he's okay. He's trained today, so we'll see how he is tomorrow.
And Nathan Tyson, you're still monitoring that one day by day?
Yeah, Tyson's trained today. He stepped it up, and he's done okay. So hopefully he's not going to be far away now. I think the important thing, it was just to get past that little step where he just kept feeling sore. And I think if we'd have just pushed him on, I think we could have keep having the problem, and the problem just prolonged. So he's trained with us today. Again, we monitor him every day and see how he is, see what the reaction is. So each day he's now stepping up. So touch wood, he'll not be a million miles away.
And I suppose the big challenge now is to try and get that second win in terms of building some momentum. Back-to-back wins is not something that Chesterfield have done often in the last few seasons. So is that the next stage now? You know, we've got a win, we move on, and we try and get the next one.
Well, we've done it before we finished. You know, I understand what you're saying, but we have done it. We have done it before the lockdown, so we know we're capable of doing it now. We try and win every game, Liam. You know, we go out. We don't go out when we work. You know, all week. We don't go out to draw a game. We go out to look how we can possibly win this game, and then things happen in games, and you know, then you adjust accordingly. But yeah, the big challenge is it's another game, and are we capable of winning it? Yes, we are. But we've got to go out and produce and perform and show the commitment we showed on Saturday. And you know, if we do that, we won't be far away.